What's going on with the PlayStation? I missed your stream. You were streaming Spider-Man 2, Dark Souls Spider-Man, and all of a sudden, what? It just died.
Yeah. Yeah, it just shut off and then couldn't play no more. My
Did you get?
PlayStation just killed itself.
You're just in the middle of the game and it just went whoop.
Yeah, it was like no more. I'm done with Spider-Man. And then it just wouldn't turn on. And I have it in a repair shop right now, but yeah, I haven't heard back yet.
That's
I
bummy. They
called them
should.
yesterday, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we'll take a look at it," and then I just never heard anything. I was like, "Oh, thanks." So now
You're
I have
like,
to wait
you'll
till
take a
Monday.
look at it. I dropped it off there like a week ago. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, like what's going on? I need my PlayStation 5.
Gotta play Spider-Man. Ah, that last fight's not fun, but you might like it. I didn't.
I just
Never,
want to like.
never
I
again.
feel like I have that FOMO, right? Like that fear of missing out. Like the more time that I'm not playing it because it's a new active game, like I feel like I'm missing out on an experience.
It's a fun game, but I mean, we're going to talk about that with our Game of the Year stream. We're going to go through every single game. Good morning, everybody. Cutthroat, you're here. JT, good to see you, dude. Mo is here. Bat Stan. And of course, Matt Tracker Ruben is here.
Morning, friends.
Cutthroat says, worst movie ever. Yeah, you think so? I don't know about that. It was the worst movie ever. But
it's something. Yeah. I remember it being bad, but watching it again last night, it was worse than I remember.
Well, we flew Mr. Grohl all the way here from California, so we got to do the intro. So everyone grab your coffee and let's get ready to rock. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, Dave.
I'll call you later, Dave. All right, see ya.
Yeah, we were kind of vibing and chilling for a bit there. The screaming really wakes you up.
It does. It wakes up. It's time to wake up and talk about Mortal Kombat Annihilation. We get the theme song for 5 seconds and then it stopped. And that's going to be.
You couldn't afford that. They had to relicense that out again.
I'm really curious. We'll get into it later, but I'm curious if the budget on this was higher or lower. I really don't know because honestly, it seems like it was a lot lower. WillyLo spent hours and hours and hours taking these incredible pictures for us today. Just grueling exercise.
It was so hard. I had to push a button.
Oh God!
And click where I wanted it to take a picture. It was tough.
So here we are, 1997, the sequel to the very, very successful Mortal Kombat. All my notes are on my phone as I watched it, like usual.
I actually took notes this time too. I'm like, Jay takes notes. I'm going to take notes.
You took notes. Great. Wonderful. Everyone in the chat, I'm just going to check the poll real quick. I want to see who's seen this. 88% have seen it. Okay, so for the 12% who has not... You know what? I did not see it until this morning. This was one that has legend behind it. What's up, Ryan? How you doing from Twitchland? This one that was, spoken about quite a bit as being notoriously awful. And maybe, I don't know, Will, maybe that's why I didn't watch it. Because the legend of it was so great. And of course, I've seen still pics over the years. But boy, oh boy. Okay. Annihilation. So we can just go point for point if you want. We'll just say, we'll go where we're going. We'll go where we're going. TJ, good morning, buddy.
Morning, TJ. Morning, Matt.
Okay, so I just, again, my thoughts poured out on paper.
Mhm.
I thought when we defeated him, the door to Outworld was closed.
And they do mention that, right?
Yes,
Is
but
that you thinking that, or is that you quoting what they say?
I will let you know when it's a quote. So this is just me,
Okay.
my thoughts. When it's a quote, I'll let you know. But this is just I thought when they defeated Shokan, the out the door to Outworld was closed, and then Raiden says to correct me, "What closes can now be open."
Sounds like a really bad like pickup line when a girl like turns you down and you're like, "What closes can be
What
open."
closes can now be open again. I was like, what?
There's a lot of really bad, bad like lines in this movie. I don't know how they fell so far. I'm gonna just get that off my chest right now. Coming from the first movie and then this, like immediately off the bat, you're like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah. Yeah, so right away, the first thing we see is we have a recast. So it's no longer Highlander. We have, hey, one of my all-time favorite actors, James Remar, uh, best known by me as Ajax in the Warriors. He's also Dexter's father in the show Dexter. He's Richard in Sex and the City. He's just had a ton of iconic roles over his career.
Thankfully, after this,
Yeah, he's still got work after this. Yeah, so I just thought that was a funny opening. What closes can now be open again, and then I just put underneath that, Will, I'm so embarrassed for James Remar.
did you like him better as Raiden?
No, no,
No.
he didn't fit. And by the way, we'll get into this. I think you have a picture of it, Will. Did you catch his stunt double?
There is a scene I'm pretty sure I caught his. Yeah, I know. I think I know the one you're talking about. Yes.
Okay, so we'll get into that.
But can we take a moment to like talk about this picture? Do you guys look at
Absolutely.
this and like you can visibly tell like he's just standing in front of a green screen. Like they didn't do anything to like blend it together. Like it looks like
Yeah,
something I
yeah,
could probably do, and
yeah.
somebody got paid millions of dollars to do what I would probably just throw on a screen.
And
Actually, I
what
would probably do it better nowadays, but still.
we could do it like we all have apps, right? That could do that stuff now. And what's funny about that is the first one when we watched it, I had made lots of comments about how the sets were so wicked.
Mhm.
And there was some CG in it, of course, but the practical sets were really well done. This one, it's just a lot of like random like cliff sides, and then there's an ice bridge, and I don't know. We'll get into all that stuff. And hey, any thoughts you have, just pour them out here. Brian, how you doing, buddy? Welcome to the stream. Yeah, terrible
You know
green
what,
screen.
Brian? Let's go back in time. We'll figure a way to go back, and I'll show you I could do it better than that.
Uh,
Let me know.
light. This movie has lightning fast editing. Okay, so right off the hop, like before I even got a chance to almost open my notepad, Johnny Cage has been killed.
Yeah. Can we
Eh, Yeah,
can we go back a little bit though?
please.
So like we get the whole like everybody's talking, and then Shao Kahn's like, "Oh, I'm here to defeat you guys. Oh, I'm gonna merge the worlds."
That's a good impersonation. I like it.
And then Shao Kahn jumps and does a flip to stand in the middle of everyone, and then Raiden does a jump and does a flip to stand in front of everyone, and then they flip again before they fight.
That
Everybody in this movie is
yeah.
jumping around and flipping into scene.
That's something that happens quite a bit in this film, or they just peek out from camera right or left and jump into frame.
Yeah.
Is that there's a scene at the end when it's like the three quote unquote boss characters on the cliff, and then Shao Kahn is kind of on top, and then Raiden just like jumps out. Raiden, sorry, just jumps out from the left. He's like, "Oh, you're just hiding behind that stone wall the whole time." Like, there's a lot of that, yeah. Um, so Cage is dead, and I think it's a different actor, right?
Yes, they did change the actor for him too. Yep.
Okay, so Cage is different. Um,
Can we talk
okay,
about the
so
flash kick?
was there one?
Yeah, so Shao Kahn like beats up Raiden, and like Raiden's on the ground. Oh no! Sorry, I think it's he grabs Sonya. Right, somehow gets a whip thrown to him. He grabs the whip and it lashes her on her feet. And he grabs Sonya and puts her foot on her and says he's gonna kill her. And Johnny does a flash kick, and it looks so awful, like charging at Shao Kahn, and that's how Shao Kahn gets Johnny, because he's trying to save Sonya.
I feel bad. I don't remember that, so I must have been typing.
I didn't screen grab that, but it's like it looks like they just like mirror imaged him like 3 times behind himself. Was
Yeah, because his kick, it's not like Giles. His is like a straight out. Then he has all the shadows behind him. Yeah.
Also, everybody's exploding through walls, even off the beginning. Like everybody's being launched into and through walls.
Yeah, there's a lot happening. And it really reminds me, I don't know, it's just kind of like everything today with like TikTok and everything being so fast and quick cuts. That's what this reminded me of. It was like ADHD, like Mortal Kombat. That first beginning scene confused me so much, and it was like in 2 seconds Cage is dead. It's like Sonya, by the way, is also a recast actor. She hasn't said one word, so let's bring up her, and this is her and Jax. So she's been recast, and I think Jax was in the first one a little bit, right? Yeah. So he's been recast too.
Yeah. He looks great as Jax. I will say the arms are a little bit dumb, but for Jax in general, I feel like he fits the part. Like he actually looks pretty good.
I always thought Jax lost his arms and he got robot implants. I thought that was the lore of Jax. I'm no MK expert. And in
I'm pretty
this
sure
one,
that is the lore.
This one, they're just like arm coverings. So why is he on this big operating table, like knocked out and all that?
Yeah, it's like those tattoo armbands people on, but
yeah.
He just, not to spoil too much further in, but yeah, he just like rips them off at the end, and you're just like, huh.
The Sonya actress, this one I definitely like 100 times better. I'm not a huge fan of that other one. I can't remember her name. She's in Billy Madison too. She just always has this snarl on her face, like she's
I
always
do
like
think
that.
this actress looks better for the part.
Yeah,
I don't think she was written very well in this movie.
they didn't really know what to do with her, even to the point where at the end, when each of the fighters takes on their boss, she's stuck with, I think it's Ermac, and she's like, all right, leftovers, I guess. She's like, I don't mind, I'll take the leftovers. It's like they
But
really had nothing to do with her.
She's always like the damsel in distress, it seems. Like
Bridget
she can't
Wilson.
handle like the foot soldiers that are fighting her while Jax takes care of Cyrax. But then like later on, she's yelling out for Jax's help as she's fighting one of the generals of Shao Kahn. Like
Right.
she's just like, oh, she has to be saved. Oh, she's a woman. She has to come and like be helped all the time. Where like Sonya should be able to hold her own.
They pulled that crap in the first one too. Remember, he gives her that fancy dress and she's chained up at the end. Remember, they did that with her
they did
too.
that at the end, but at least like through the most of the movie, like she was able to like stand on her own 2 feet.
Yeah,
and kind of like be like she was there, she could take care of herself. No one had to worry about Sonya for the most
part. We have 6 days to prepare for combat. These are the terms from Shao Kahn. In 6 days, there's going to be Mortal Kombat. They're going to invade Earth or whatever. Dude, there's so much pointless exposition in this film that I thought I was playing Destiny, which James Remar is also in, by the way. But I was just like, there's just so much going on and just so much like vanilla, boring talk constantly happening that you can't follow what's happening. It's impossible.
But also like I don't understand the 6 days thing, because like Mortal Kombat had those rules established by the gods about like taking over realms. But like this is an invasion. So
So
this is breaking the rules. So why do you have a stipulation that it takes 6 days?
It's not just Mortal Kombat. They're going to invade.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just wrote here. There's so much exposition, but I don't understand any of it. It's just gobbledygook.
Yeah, they're just like these
Um,
video game people just want to hear this babble. They want to hear this stuff. No.
and again, this, I say it later in my notes, but I'm just going to say it here instead. This is the problem when you're doing an ensemble piece like this, when you have so many characters, and if you don't represent all of them, there's going to be that group of fan people that's, like Cabal and Striker are killed off screen. You don't even see them. They're just killed. You can bet there was like Cabal fanboys back in there, like, oh man, if we get Cabal, it's like, so everyone is kind of shoehorned in here. Most of the bad guys don't really have anything to do. All the ninjas in this are really bad.
Yeah. And like, I feel like, so we recently watched the first one, and the fight scenes and the choreography wasn't great, but they were a lot better than this. But in this one, it reminded me a lot of Power Rangers. Like every
Yeah.
time they were hitting, they're like, ha, ha, ha. I'm like, stop it.
Oh wow, we're skipping ahead here. What's the first fight? We'll just bring up this just to have something to look at. So this is Sub-Zero. I call him Sub-Zero 2. I guess now they've expanded upon the story, or maybe I missed the memo. This is Sub-Zero's brother.
Yeah. That does happen in the lore. Like,
sure. That's fine. If you look at all these characters, they almost all look like their digital counterparts in the game, which I'm just kind of thinking, considering the acting was so bad on most of the characters, why didn't they just use those actors that they mocapped?
yeah, that's a good question.
Could it get much worse? Really? Like, honestly, could it get much worse? I don't know.
Brian, that is a good point, Brian, about the sound effects. But I'm relating it to the first one where they didn't really do that a whole lot. So, like, moving from the first to the second, I think it's natural to compare the two, right? The first one had a lot more serious fight scenes, and this one, it seems like it was very dumbed down and kind of brought in for like more children.
I don't know. I don't think they knew what to do with it. The plot for Mortal Kombat, the original 3 arcade games, is razor thin. It's, what's the plot, really? So they went to Outworld in the first one, so they kind of combined the first and the second, in the first movie. So now it's like, well, we've gone to Outworld, we've gone to Earth. What do we do? They combine the two, and that's when you get the terrible CG buildings and stuff like that. Like, that was, I'm not gonna harp too much on graphics because that's what they were of the time. However, I will say that some of the graphics in this are shocking, even for the time period.
They're really bad.
Seek out Nightwolf. Okay, this is a quote. Okay, so let's bring up old Nightwolf. And the slides aren't in order. I mixed them up. So okay, Nightwolf looks great. So I think Raiden says this: seek out the counsel of the one called Nightwolf. You will not find him, he will find you. Laugh my effing ass off, I put. Seek out the counsel of the one called Nightwolf. You will not find him. I was like,
yeah.
Well, Will, these beings are all over the planet. Why don't you tell everyone in the chat here how we transport ourselves across the planet in this movie?
There's a lot of like teleporting, but there's also a lot of horses and walking.
The hamster balls that you get in.
Oh, I totally forgot about that scene.
Yeah, the hamster balls.
I forgot about it. I don't even understand why that is, because they teleport everywhere else. That's the only time they use those ball things.
And I'm not even gonna slam that as, oh, that wasn't in the game. I don't really care about that too much. It's more like it was just such a stupid idea, because the degree of accuracy you need to navigate these tunnels, you have to be so good at it. And then Liu Kang and Katana at one point, it's, they're very close together and there's all this sexual tension. And she's like, oh, we need the tunnel on the right. Lean to the right a bit more. And they just like shimmy over, and then they make this huge turn. It's just like,
I may have actually skipped that whole scene, honestly, because it came up and I was like, I don't really care about this. As I was taking like
yeah,
the screenshots, I was like,
that's fair. That's fair. Brandon, good morning, dude. Good to see you.
Morning, Brandon. Yeah, I forgot about that. But like everywhere else, like they're either on horseback or they're always running, or like a convenient portal opens up to like teleport them around.
Yeah, and you know what? I would have been fine with the teleportation. Um, I don't care. They're all wizards. Some of them are gods. Some of them are not gods. I can't keep up. They lose their powers. They gain their powers. They die. They come back. Whatever. Did you find it a little bit shocking that they didn't bring Johnny Cage back? I was kind of like, I forgot about him, honestly, and I just had this thought before we went live. I'm like, they never brought Cage back. He just kind of died, and he's just dead.
Yeah, I wonder if that's consistent with the lore because like they did just leave Johnny dead through the games for a while, right?
Right, right.
So maybe that's why. And like spoilers at the end, but Raiden has a death scene, but he's not actually dead.
Oh my God. Good morning, Den.
What's
Good
going
to
on,
see you,
Jeff?
buddy.
Good to see you.
Shokan's daddy. Shokan's daddy is in this, and here he is. He looks like your typical 80s villain. With the hood on, he looks like Hans Gruber from Die Hard, I thought.
So you know who this character is supposed to be, right? I didn't know until the end.
Oh,
I was trying to figure it out. I was like, who the hell is this character that they're portraying here?
okay. So after I gotta be transparent here. After Ultimate MK3 and the MK trilogy on PS1, I checked out. I did play MK4 on 64, but after that, it wasn't until we started working at EB until I picked one up again. I just lost all interest. So
That's fair.
I
This guy's
go ahead. Yeah.
supposed to be Shinnok.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Is that the bald dude? The blue
Yeah.
kind of looks like Kratos.
Yeah, he's one of like the other gods that kind of like gets corrupted from my understanding. But he is also Shao Kahn and Raiden's father in this movie.
Oh, what do you mean they're brothers? We're not there yet.
Oh,
God.
sorry, spoilers.
Pacing, man. Shokan's daddy says, "Have you destroyed the humans?" And I actually paused for a second. Look at these two. Are they not human beings? Like I don't understand.
Yeah,
I
like
don't
the Outworld
understand.
people
I don't
are
get it.
they look like Earth Realm
They look
people.
like people like in Star Trek, right? Forget the rubber masks and all that stuff. Like the aliens would be green, blue, or they would have like something on their nose, or they would have elf ears,
Yeah.
something. Like they could have done anything. Do you know what I mean? They could have made them white eyes or anything. But even that, it's just like, have you destroyed the humans? I was just like, but these guys are human. I don't what? Like I don't get it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not very well portrayed. Obviously because you have other like the Outworld has creatures or species in it like Mintaro and stuff, right? Like which we do see in this, and I think he looks pretty good. I don't think the actor does a good job, but out of everything else, if you compare it to the rest of the character and cast, he looks all right.
Well, what happened to Kintaro? They just forgot about him.
They're just like, oh, we don't want to do another four-armed guy. Let's do a half horseman.
Dude, Goro was so great.
Oh, he was amazing in the first one.
Hang on. Again, these aren't in order, so I'm just pulling it down. Goro was so great. Where is it? Don't tell me I forgot to put that one in there.
Can you not add them later?
Well, it's a PDF file, so they're all in order. So Goro was so great, and then thank you, Stanley. Then we get this. Shiva. Now, Shiva does not look like this in the game. So again, Will, this is the same thing where it's just a human. Like
I also forgot about her.
They literally didn't even do anything to her face. Like Goro had so much work put into him in the movie. He looked awesome.
Yeah. Honestly, this looks like if all they did was like she's standing there and they're like, hey, Valerie, can you stand behind her just a little bit? And we're just gonna get your shoulders and your arms there. And if you could raise them from time to time, I think that'd be great.
It's like, okay. But most of the time, you're just going to stand down there because Shiva clearly to get around, for budgetary reasons, but she doesn't really fight. She just kind of just dies. It's so stupid. But
Morning, Packers.
Packers, what's up, brother? Matt says the actor playing Shao Kahn in this looks like he was also one of the bad guys in the first live action what movie?
Guyver
movie? I think it was the same guy. Yeah, and ladies and gentlemen,
like the animated Guyver movie, or we like moved to live action, or are we talking like MacGyver?
I am a short human, okay? I am 5'7", so I'm not short shaming anybody. However, I will say that Shao Kahn, there's one scene when he's eye to eye with Jade.
And she's tiny.
Jade's not tall, so Shao Kahn in the game, he's a giant. Like he's literally a giant. And in this, I mean, I think the actor was pretty good, his face and stuff, but it also has that Boba Fett syndrome where he kept taking his little hat off and then he wasn't scary anymore. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. He's definitely more imposing with that rubber crappy helmet on. But yeah, he always takes it off. And I don't know why. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, it definitely takes it out because then you just think of him as a man instead of some like imposing emperor that's coming to rule the world. You're just a dude.
And I mean, he
a
was
tiny dude.
He was built, but he wasn't like Jax is jacked. So jacked, in fact, that he was like they had him on covered in Vaseline the whole time, right? Wrestler style. But like Shao Kahn, I mean, Shao Kahn was big, but he wasn't as big. And then I kind of wonder, it's like, well, is it because the actor's face looks like him? But that doesn't make any sense because they could have got a bigger guy and just kept the helmet on him anyway. Maybe showed him in shadows. But do we even know what Shao Kahn looks like anyway? Like, does it even matter?
Later on, they show him, but he's not just a regular man, anyways. Like he is definitely.
Yeah, him taking his helmet off all the time. It just like Boba Fett. It just made him like everything that made him great is now gone.
Yeah, the mystery's gone, right?
Yeah. Oh, the live action Mark Hamill Guyver movie.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
I've never seen that. I don't even know if I've heard of that. Interesting. A whole new meaning of hand job right here, Pains. Oh, goodness gracious. Good morning. So our first actual fight is Liu Kang and Katana versus Smoke. I mean, we get the fog machine going off at their feet. And then Smoke comes up and it's Robot Smoke. What'd you think of that fight?
It lasted like 2 seconds.
Real messy. Real messy.
It was a lot of grabbing and twirling, and that's like a lot of the fight scenes in this. It's a lot of like not actually like contact. It's more like flips and flops and like missing each other.
Yeah.
And then somebody comes in to save the day.
Yeah, there's the choreography in this one is not nearly as good. The first one was so great because there were a fair share of stunt doubles, but I didn't notice them as much.
Oh, they're noticeable in this one.
Oh, very much. Sub-Zero flies in one of the most embarrassing shots in the movie.
Yeah, like I think I took a picture of that, but like,
yeah,
why? Like he's flying in and then he's like shooting ice down and like freezing to make that bridge or whatever, right?
Yeah, it looked like a cutout. It looked like a cutout.
It's bad.
Like it was just like this. Oh.
And there's a few of those. That's the same with the jumps too. In the early of the opening when Shao Kahn does a jump, it looks like what they did was they got a shot of him going up into a ball, and then they just took a shot of him in that ball, like a picture of him, and then moved it across the screen.
Yeah. Or they'll do like a karate kick, with their leg, like Liu Kang style. They'll do they'll jump and they'll do a karate kick, but there'll be no contact. They'll just land in front of the opponent and then start fighting. It's like, why would you Why would you do an offensive move if you're just using it to traverse? Anyway, we might be thinking too much about this. It's all the editing, right? That's all editing stuff.
And it's bad.
I just put the wire budget must have been half of the film's budget because there's a lot of wire shots in this where it's very obvious they're getting pulled by wires because they're so stiff looking.
Yep. A lot of my notes are, oh God, why more flipping? Awful techno music every fight.
Yeah, the score in this has gone down quite a bit. The first film, not just the Mortal Kombat theme, which is iconic as far as video game music goes. The rest of the score was so good to the point where I remember I owned the CD back in the day because it wasn't just that track. There were different tracks for every one of the fights, and they were all memorable. We talked about that too. This
great.
one, it sounded like a bunch of robots having sex, or like, like the old hard drives thinking, or like you're restarting your computer, like all these weird computer noises. And it wasn't music. I don't know what it was.
It was all bad. Nothing, like, it started playing and I was like, please just stop. Like, honestly.
Scorpion comes out of nowhere, even though he's dead. Well, I guess he can't really die if he's already dead. He died in the first one, and he mutters the iconic line, "Suckers," as he grabs Katana and whisks her away.
But it's so poorly delivered. So there's a few times in this movie I believe they actually use sound bites from the video game.
Oh, they get over here for sure.
But like Raiden does his I don't know what that is, that dash forward, and he does that sound, and you hear the actual game sound because it is 100% the game sound, and you're just like, really,
dude. Those Raiden noises in that first game are so awful.
Oh yeah, but they used it in the movie, and you're just like, that's not good.
Well, it's so like gamers can be like, this was just like the video game, right? I see why they did it. It's terrible. But I think the Raiden, why do I keep calling him Raiden? I think the Raiden sound bites in the first game were terrible anyway. They're embarrassing. I never played him because I didn't want to hear any of that stuff.
Yeah, that charged up like lunge forward attack. I don't remember what the actual move's called, but he has that wada wada.
Yeah,
and like stop it. And they do that in the movie, and you're just like, come on.
Again, my note, I was thinking how bad the acting was. Why didn't they just use the actual motion capture actors?
Somebody brought up, I can't remember, maybe it was Stanley. Somebody said something about it earlier. Oh no, maybe it was Matt. About like if they did use the live action, they would.
Well, I brought it up, yeah, but it was in my notes. The Jax scene. I don't think I have another Jax. So we got to let's just bring up something to look at.
Brandon, you may hate me about this, but I actually like that Doom movie with The Rock. I watch it regularly.
There you go. The Doom movie was up there in the poll, so you know what that means. It's just a matter of time before we have to watch it. I've never seen Doom either, so
it's not the level of this bad.
Jax scene. Sonya gets Jax. Cyrax. Oh, there you go. That's just luck. Cyrax is hunting them. And I put, didn't Shao Kahn say they had 6 days?
Yeah.
And yet everyone keeps attacking them. I mean, I guess that's not a huge deal, right? It's just like he's the bad guy. He's a big liar anyway. But it's just like you're setting up this 6-day time limit, all this tension, and then you just defuse it because, well, he's setting his minions after them anyway. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, there's like a scene later where they're talking about like around like some big council table.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, I've killed thousands of humans," and you're like,
I don't.
I thought you had to wait for 6 days. Are you invading or not invading? What are you doing?
Nobody knows, not even the writers. I use the term loosely.
Also, thousands of humans? You've been there for like a while. Like, I thought you guys have like superior armies. Why only thousands?
Endless waves of faceless ninjas that have sharp-edged weapons fighting against Earth humans that don't have any weapons, and yet they always get punched out like they're just red shirts.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if like a faceless ninja came after me, I would have a high probability of dying.
Yeah, with swords too, right?
As a normal human being, probably.
I will say Cyrax and Smoke. They
Look
didn't
okay.
put what was the other one? Cinder? Cinder? What's the red one? Anybody know the red android from 3?
I
Smoke,
don't remember.
Cyrax, and I think it's Sindar.
Sounds right.
Eh, they look good. I think they look
Yeah,
fine.
I think they look the parts. Like if you in that time you wanted to throw like hockey protection gear on somebody and color it. Yeah, no, they fit.
Oh, Sector.
Sector, that's it.
Thank you. Thank you. Close. I put in my notes here, Jax versus Cyrax. The music is so terrible, and so is capitalized. That's how bad it was. Sonya's fatality on Cyrax is her trademark kiss of death, but instead of it being some kind of magical whatever, she finds this like acidic powder on the ground and just blows it at him.
And then boom.
And
Yeah.
he's then that's he's dead. That's the end of the
There's a scene with him there that like Jax kicks the operation table that he was on at him, and for whatever reason, again, he has to do like a triple somersault backflip onto the table and look at Jax, and you're just like, you could have just like stepped to the side, bud. That's a lot of energy to waste.
Well, because wires. The answer is because wires. Did Justin bring the wires from the last set? Oh, there they are. Okay, throw them on.
Put him on the wires.
I don't really need the wires. I put them on anyway. We'll flip you up, upside down, up and around. We'll slap you around. It'll be a good time.
I almost feel like at some point for all the actors, they just put them in wires and just like, we're gonna flip you for like 20 minutes, and then we're just gonna fit it into scenes.
Yeah.
They don't have to make sense. We're just gonna flip you, and then we're just gonna cut it in. People are gonna love it. They love flipping.
Brian says you need to watch MK Legacy to wash the pain of Annihilation away.
I
Brandon,
think we have to watch that newer Mortal Kombat that came out, which I don't like either, but I think it's better than this.
what's the difference between you and we? I'm not wearing hockey pants. I thought he said hockey. I always thought he said hockey pads.
I thought it was pads too, but maybe
Hockey
it is pants.
pants sounds way funnier. I'm gonna go with hockey pants.
Forever gonna be hockey pants now.
Shokan kills Rain because Rain fails, lets them go or something.
Yeah, because it's his current top general.
Oh no, sorry, because he let there we go. Shokan kills Rain because Rain was weak and he let Cabal and Stryker live. So they're not killed, they're just imprisoned, but we don't ever see them at all.
Yeah.
So he kills Rain, which is basically he falls off the stage and then they shoot the fire effect up. It's like, oh. Literally.
You know what it reminded me of? Dr. Evil killing was it number 1 at the time in Austin Powers?
It's just like you fall off the 3-foot set onto the pads, and then they have like the fire effects just on the side. It's just like in a franchise that is best known for its fatalities. I mean, the fatalities go to the wayside for something else, but we're gonna get into that. I put
only a
Shokan.
handful of them, but there's the CG they use for it is awful.
Shokan is not human, but he's small. Shiva looks just like a human and nothing like Goro.
Yep.
And this might be out of order, but we get, and again, I'm not slamming on the CG graphics too much.
No,
but I gotta say, this shot here is shocking. Now, this is, I think, a fight with Katana, and she just fights. What's Sub-Zero's clan? Sub-Zero and Scorpion's clan.
Oh, you're gonna put me on the spot for this?
The Liu Kuei?
That sounds right. The Ling Q or the Liu Kuei?
Yeah, there's a Liu Kuei, I think. Anyway, so she fights 3 what appears to be Liu Kuei. There you go. Thank you. Or Lin Kuei. Whatever their clan is.
We had a mix of our two. We were half, like 50% of you, 50% of me. We were on spot.
She fights 3 Lin Kuei members, and
Oh, when I saw this scene, I was like, I have to take a screenshot of
I'm
that.
glad you took a picture of this because
It's so bad.
it goes by pretty quick, but seeing is believing. And this is a still of the film. Okay. Like,
Yeah,
listen.
all the pictures I took were straight from the film.
Like, that's, I mean, yeah.
It's so bad. And there's like 3 of them standing there. Like they like come out of like invisible, like they're crawling on the walls, and then they like come through the wall, and you're like, oh. Even back in like when this came out, like I know CG wasn't great back then, but there's better displays of CG than this. This looks
If you
like
could,
Beast
yeah,
Wars. You're watching Transformers Beast Wars. This is what this reminded me of. Actually, Beast Wars
this
still looks
looks
better.
like the Dino game, Dino whatever it's called. Yesterday I was playing. Like that's how bad this looks. Absolutely zero shading. And if
Yeah.
you're gonna get this close, you have to put shading. You have to put some kind of detail.
The hell was that game called? Dino Emergency?
I don't even remember. I
Dino
just played
Sucks?
Dino Bash, Dino, Dino Awful. Big Bacon's in the house. Good morning, buddy. Good to see
Come
you.
on in.
Dino Break, thank you. I knew Matt would know. I tried to scrub it from my memory.
Oh,
So
that looked
bad.
awful.
So Nightwolf, Liu Kang finally meets Nightwolf. By the way, when I say meet, it's like think of how big the Earth is. Okay, I might be getting nitpicky here, but think of how big the Earth is. He knows a roundabout area where Nightwolf is, and it's just again, it's our characters moving into a scene and just looking around aimlessly, and then the character finds them. How many times does this happen in these movies? Like almost every time they find somebody.
Yeah.
It's our characters walk into frame, look around, and then the character will always pop up behind them to surprise them or whatever.
Well, this one comes in very special though.
Go ahead. You can. We don't have a shot of it, but if you want to
I
describe
took a
it.
picture of it. Did I not send it?
Yes, I
Oh.
didn't. Some of them were a little kind of blurred, so I didn't use those. But
Well, it's because everything's blurry in this movie to cover up the awfulness. Yeah, he comes in as a wolf, and then he shapeshifts out of wolf form. Looks like Liu Kang is like cool, huh?
So Nightwolf says, "You like that?
Oh, that's it.
It's my animality. So
Oh.
you're Raiden's prodigy." And then Liu Kang says, "Who are you?" And Nightwolf says, "Wouldn't you like to know?"
It's so bad.
Listen, the writing, dude. I'm telling you, okay. Raiden's like, "Go find Nightwolf. You won't be able to find him. Go find him. You won't be able to find him, but he'll find you." Okay, what? And then he finds Nightwolf, and Liu Kang says, "Who are you?" And the Nightwolf says, "Wouldn't you like to know?" Like when Yoda does this to Luke in Empire Strikes Back, it's to test him. This is just bad writing. Like this is horrible writing. At no point do I get any kind of mentor vibe from Nightwolf. And of course, they got to go to the desert and get in some kind of trance. Like it's so stereotypical. It's
But it's not
embarrassing.
okay. The lead up for this is hilarious though, because Nightwolf's talking to Liu Kang, and he's like, "What do you want?" And trying to explain to him like how he needs to think. And instead of like offering him something, he throws like the bottom of his axe and knocks Liu Kang out.
I know. I thought they were going to smoke something or take something, right? Because I'm under the assumption Nightwolf has like shaman powers, so they're going to do some kind of train, put him in a trance or what. No, he just throws his mystical hatchet at him and knocks him out. Good thing he didn't hit him with the bladed end.
Yeah. And she's like, "Oh, what?"
It'd be a long damn movie if they were searching for 3 weeks. I would rather see that movie. I'd rather see the movie of them walking around for 3 weeks. Speaking of Dino Break, Jay, have you traded it in yet? Oh, wow. Well, funny you say that. I can't trade it in, TJ, because it's digital.
Yeah, that's yours forever.
Wow. Until I take it off the Switch, and then they take it off the eShop, and then that's the end of that. Anyway.
Oh, such a loss.
Well, it's, sort of. Assumptions make an ass out of you and me, Jay. Fair enough, my friend. Very fair. You think I would have learned that lesson by now? No. You need to smoke something to enjoy this movie, Matt says. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Packers, my animality on a Sunday morning is a sloth. Sloth train. It's just slow motion. Were you out late last night, buddy? You having one too many tequilas, dancing on the bar, air guitar? You know, the usual, shirt off. Okay. Knocks out Liu Kang with a hatchet. Liu Kang has to find his inner animality. Okay. So I'm just going to ask you, what do you think the obsession is this movie with animalities? Because that's even the end fight. That's what happens. What do you think that's all about?
Well, it's the hot thing, right? Like they were just basing it off of MK2, and they're like, "Oh, these guys can have like the new fatality is the animality, and Liu Kang can turn into a dragon. So that's cool, right? We can use CG effects, like Brian said earlier, like Jurassic Park, and it's going to make millions. Except for it doesn't look near as good, and you didn't have the budget the same as Jurassic Park. But
yeah, see, I always thought Boone put the animalities and the friendships in there. I don't want to say it's like a goof, but I believe that the friendships were put in Mortal Kombat 2 or 3, whenever they first appeared, to kind of counter all the parents going crazy wanting to ban Mortal Kombat because it was so violent. I think it was a tongue-in-cheek way of being, look, no, you can do this too, and you give the character balloons or whatever. I think. The animality, I have no idea. But it's weird that I wonder if it was the MK creators who looked at the script and put the animalities in there as a focal point of the story, or if the Hollywood writers just once again don't know anything about the subject material and like animalities are cool.
my assumption
Let's
is
make them
these
fight.
guys were just like, "Oh, this is the cool new feature," and then like Shao Kahn's the new boss. Okay, let's make a script.
I like the shot that you took. This is Raiden asking the elemental gods for help or something, and they're like, you can't interfere, Raiden. Basically, if you interfere, you'll be stripped of your powers and you'll just become immortal. And he's like, I love my new friends that I've known for 10 minutes so much. Won't be immortal anymore. I won't be the god of thunder, and I'll just be Raiden, and all of a sudden I'll get a haircut too.
Yeah,
But this shot was pretty cool.
Daddy on the left.
Okay. So he finds his inner animality, which is super embarrassing. And then, while he's still in his trance, we see a half-naked Jade make an appearance, and she starts to seduce Liu Kang. And he loves Katana so much, Will, that he forgets about her 2 seconds after she's on top of him, which
Listen,
I thought was...
he suffers what most dudes in the morning suffer from, right? Like you're waking up, you're in a little daze. There's no blood in your head up here. You know, he's just going with the flow.
But he like embraces her full on, right? And I don't know if he's like, well, things with Katana and I have gone too slow. But granted, this movie takes place right after the first one, so there's no time, right? So literally they've known each other for 10 minutes anyway. But he gets Jade, I guess one of her powers is seduction, and it kind of works, but then he gets out of it. And I don't know who says this. This is almost too good to be true. Oh, I put how fast he's forgot about Katana. So yeah, he's thinking with the other head, right?
My assumption, not to give this any credit because this scene sucks too, but when he's in that trance, he actually has that scene of Katana like floating down to him, telling him like, Lou, you have to find your inner like self or whatever. And she's like in that flowing gown. So I'm thinking like he embraces Jade because he's waking up thinking it's her Katana.
Thin, Will, pretty thin, but I'll take it.
Because I'm not defending it. It's still all awful.
Yeah,
but that's how I'm relating it.
She throws away her sexy appearance, and we just see that it's regular old Jade. And now we get Liu Kang versus Jade. This was just another one of Nightwolf's crazy tests. I don't know why I wrote that quote down. And then I put Katana is the key to all this, question mark. What is happening?
Mm-hmm.
This is about the
Yeah.
point where I really started to lose the plot. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know who's trying to get what, and we got to get to this in the 6 days. And now there's like scenes with like Conan the Barbarian armies with barbarians on horses, and I'm like, they're invading Earth, but they're not. Like, some of them are in Outworld, some of them aren't in Outworld. Like, oh,
Yeah.
it's just a mess, dude.
It's all over the place.
Sonya and Jax might be the two worst actors in history. I wrote that.
Yeah. At least Sonya looks good.
Which brings me to the next point. This. Sonya looks like she's in another movie. I'm just saying. Now, how do I say
Sonya
this?
Blade and the Beast.
How do I say this lightly? Sonya's undergarments on her chest look like they've been severely altered, because literally every shot in this movie, you can see everything. That's the politest way I can say it.
I put a note here that says, ladies all have pointy nipples.
You're a lot cruder than I am. There you go. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you'd prep every scene when it's action and you make that transformation. I don't know, but it might be the undergarment she had or already had that pre-built to make it look like, because she's wearing the white sexy tank top from the 90s, right? So
just before this scene, though, she fights Melania.
Yeah, Milena versus Sonya.
And it's pretty much just two girls mud wrestling. That's that whole scene. That's what I put this down. I was like,
mud fight.
Mud wrestling scene.
And so she beats up Milena, who I believe is one of Baraka's race. I think she's a Baraka, if I'm not. Anyway, so
she's
Melina,
like half to Carton, I think.
She's discarded, she's beaten up, and it's funny. This thing, which I don't know what this is. This just it's a statue and it comes to life. And I put, what the hell is that? The CG dragon thing Jack beats up, and it's a 2-second fight. And then the very next scene, there's a throwaway line Sonya says, we're like, I gotta find a river. And then the very next scene, dude, she's like perfectly clean. Her hair is perfectly done. And listen, I understand Hollywood, okay? So I don't want to hear that. I get that. But you could still make her look dirty. But she's completely like, that mud fight didn't even happen, man. It's just like, holy crap, dude.
Oh, it does look like Lord Zed. Good call, Stanley.
Who's that? Power Rangers?
Yeah.
There's just this random shot too that I forgot to put in. So this is
look at Shiva in the background.
Shiva looks like she's wearing my grandma's bathing suit. Like, seriously, like doesn't quite fit her right. She's got this weird, like, it's just like a human. Like, zero effort. And I think that's Rain's still alive. Sindel looks pretty good. And then, well, we can't see Montaro. We'll see enough of that guy. Jay likes dirty girls.
Confirmed.
Well, I mean, you know. So there's that scene. Okay. So Raiden talks to the gods. We just saw that. So you won't help. You'll stand and watch the destruction of Earth. I don't know why I wrote that down. So Raiden, what is it? Denounces, gives up his powers.
Yeah, he basically loses his powers and his immortality for the mortal realm, so that he can go.
And I'm glad you took this one shot, and I think you took it for a reason. So we see Raiden enter. He jumps in front of our heroes, but this is like what this movie is all about. So we have a green screen of the temple. Okay, and that's not James Remar. That's James Remar's stunt double, who is Ray Park, by the way. If you guys don't know who Ray Park is Darth Maul in The Phantom Menace. That is James Remar's stunt double. But there's a common theme where our heroes, like Will was saying earlier, they just do like a jump somersault in front. But it's like he doesn't really come from anywhere because you don't see his feet. He just jumps in
Yeah.
front of this castle, and then you see that. So literally, you get this, and then you get that.
I don't get this scene either because he looks like he's holding like when you're like I envision like a grade school teacher, but like, all right, kids, come on, we're gonna go for a walk, and his hands back, but none of them grab his hands. They just like walk through the portal with him. Like, yeah, Raiden, like, yeah, just no, please stop.
Yeah. Ray Park is in a lot of movies. Yes, he is a stuntman first and foremost. Yeah, he was Toad in X-Men.
I didn't know he was Toad. That's kind of
Yeah,
cool.
he was Snake Eyes in the first 2 Joe movies. Yeah, yeah. It's funny, dude. Because I follow Ray Park on Instagram. It's gonna sound weird, but I know what his body looks like. He's a martial artist, but he's also like he's jacked, right? So he was fighting whoever he's fighting, and I'm like, wait a second, I freeze framed it. I'm like, yep, that's Ray Park. And then I Googled it, boom. Pretty interesting. They should just had Ray Park as friggin' Raiden with the English accent. Why not? Who cares, man? Let's just do it.
Would have been better.
Shokan's horse army. I thought they had 6 days. We've already established that. Raiden's new look. He looks like Ajax from the Warriors because he's got his vest on. I wonder if that was intentional.
No,
Looks like he's wearing the old Warriors vest again.
no.
No, you don't think so? Eh,
I think that's too much for the writers to think about.
that's just me trying to jam more Warriors talk into this.
Yeah, nobody.
Some portal stuff. Shokan's on Earth? Question mark. Raiden and gang go to Earth. Where is Nightwolf?
You won't find him. He will find you.
Wait, no, go find me Nightwolf. You won't find him, but go find him. Who are you, Nightwolf? Wouldn't you like to know? Okay, you know what? I'm out. I'm not the chosen one anymore. Forget this.
This isn't Mortal Kombat. This is what I signed up for. This is something else. You guys handle it.
It's like, listen. I'm the chosen one, so quit playing games with me. Give me to the mentor is going to make me see the vision, and let's just quit the games. Oh, how about you can save the Earth realm for yourself? How about that? There you go. Spirit fingers, yes. Then he's got the Conan the Barbarian, like leather barbarian wrist cuffs on. Because he was a god, now he's a warrior. I don't know, man. It's WoW lore. I have no idea. Shokan is 5'1", I swear. He's not scary with his helmet. The music sounds like computers trying to restart. We don't even get a Sindel fight. So she kind of gets cold cocked from the back and knocked out.
She's so
doesn't she? I don't remember. We didn't get a Sindel fight, did we? I don't think so.
So it's kind of part of the story. But they're all fighting those awful CGI ninjas that came out. And then all of a sudden, like, Raiden's finished fighting those ninjas, and then Sindel's on the ground, and Jade's like, no, he's like, who took down Sindel? And Jade's like, oh, I did. And they're like, okay. No one saw her do it, but she did it. But then, and then that's where they get to the point where I guess Sindel was faking it. You remember this whole scene where she's on the slab and Raiden's like, oh, Katana, you have to kiss your mother or something to bring
this is Sindel. I think the actress looks just like her. She looks great. But can I ask you a question? I have a question.
Yeah, you in the back right there. Yeah, you.
Why is Sindel younger than her daughter Katana?
Because she died at a young age, and her zombie body didn't age along with Katana, so she stayed the age that she was as Katana grew older.
It's really disappointing that you know the answer to that. I was looking for something a little more of a comedic, actually, but that will do. Fine, you with the answers.
I made that up on the spot.
Oh yeah, we didn't see Liu Kang. It's the same actor as Liu Kang. He's great. I think you couldn't really cast anyone better. Like this guy's
Oh,
awesome.
before after they capture Sindel, Liu Kang has a fight with Baraka.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to. I don't know if I must have brought that picture up.
Oh, that picture is great.
Oh God.
I looked over to Ashley. I freeze framed this because Ashley was beside me, and I was like, "Why the fuck is the Leprechaun from the Leprechaun movies in this?
That is funny. That is
Does
funny.
he not look like the Leprechaun?"
That is funny. Yeah, I was noticing there was something up with the back of his head too. I'm like, he looks like he's really. Yeah. Good morning, Oz. Good to see you, mate.
Morning, Oz.
So let's look at the blades. Okay, let's look at the left hand. You can see where the makeup is coming off the
Yep.
wrist. Now these aren't accessories. This is a part of his flesh. This is a part of like his body. It's just so bad. I wonder if the actual MK 3, 2 or 3 or whatever, like what's it called? The motion capture makeup looked this terrible because this is bad, man.
Yeah,
It's just
it
bad.
looks awful. Like you can definitely tell. Like it is not
It
good.
does look like Leprechaun. Yeah, it's the eyes. That's Warwick Davis right there. Oh my God, Warwick Davis is Baraka. I knew it.
Confirmed. Well, it
It's
makes
the,
sense because like if Shao Kahn's only like 5 foot something, he needs short people to make him feel tall, right? So
everyone in this is pretty short. Even Mintaro, but we'll get to that. So Liu Kang versus Baraka. Again, no fatality. Baraka just falls in the fire, and I guess he's dead too, like Rain. Like,
yeah, and then there's like other what are they called? Tarkartans that come in and fight Liu Kang on a chain. So more wire work. They're flying through the air.
oh, that little ballet scene was really silly. Little trapeze scene or
It
whatever.
wasn't
Yeah.
even anything big. Like it was literally Liu Kang swings from one side, the two Tarkartans on the other side. They're about to like cut him, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm just gonna flip upwards on there, and they're gonna hit the chain." Haha.
And it was also really strange to me that Baraka's mouth didn't move at all. It was literally just a rubber mask. And
Yeah,
come
but do
on,
you see all that teeth in there?
yeah,
That
but
man's jaw is fused shut.
you could have an animatronic something, but it was just like literally like a mask.
Where are they gonna get the money for that, Jay?
Terrible. Well, it all went into the music clearly.
No, it went for all the green screens they had to line up in the whole room.
This date's over.
Ugh.
Then she runs under the cage where Katana was, and she's crushed. And they're running out of their budget.
Yeah, like I was like, really? That's it? She doesn't even get a fight scene. She just crushed
No.
under the cage like an idiot.
And this is where we're starting to kind of put together where this movie really failed. The heart of Mortal Kombat is in the fighting, and the first one was so good. Even Goro's fight, I was shocked at how great that was.
Mhm.
You get to see a full animatronic / guy in a suit Goro fight Johnny Cage, and what was that guy? The guy that we liked was like Paul or something. He got killed. Art.
Yeah. No, Art.
And this you don't even get to see. Like you have way less makeup, way less effort put into Shiva, and she deserves better. Way less put into her, and you don't get to see her literally do anything at all. She just looks up, and the cage falls on her.
Yeah.
And I find it really hard to believe that Shiva would be dead from that. I guess we don't know she's dead. She's KO'd. I don't know. She's out of the
We're
movie.
saving it for Mortal Kombat 3. We're still waiting.
Oh no. So I put, the main problem with the movie, there's too many characters. They don't know what to do with them all. Which, how can you? Really, how can you? If you have an ensemble cast like this.
Yeah, but then you would go back and like you could make that argument for the first one, and they did a pretty good job.
Do you think now, this is for everyone in chat too, do you think that there's more characters in this one or the first? I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, it seemed like it was pretty similar.
Like so if you don't count like the main cast, so like you take out Sonya, you take out Jax was in the first one, Liu Kang, Johnny's dead, so yeah, we don't have to really worry about him. And Raiden, that's 5, right? So
Yeah.
then this one we have what? Mintaro, we have Shiva, we have Rain, we have Cyrax. Okay, yeah, there's
Smoke,
Smoke,
Ermac.
Ermax, no Sector, Shao Kahn, Shinnok. Do we count the elemental gods? No, not really. Yeah, okay, so there's a few more. But like I don't know, I feel like it was still done this first one.
I don't know where this quote comes from. But it's this cannot be. And then the response was, oh, but it can, and it is, and you're powerless. Another wonderful line. So wonderful, I can't even remember who said that. This cannot be. Oh, but it can, and it is. It's a trick. Khan's portal stayed open. Oh, what a plot twist.
Dun dun dun.
The bad guy cheated and didn't live up to his end. And you want to talk about the big twist of the movie? It's the huge twist we never saw coming, where everybody is related, apparently, because of these tattoos that they all have on their left shoulder blade, which is a family clan symbol. I don't have a picture of the tattoos.
Oh, the ones that like when they die, the dragon thing pops out of? Is that what that meant?
It means if the dragon pops off when they die, it means they just had passage. But if the tattoo stays on them, they're actually family. And Shokan and Raiden have the same tattoo. Oh my God, they're brothers. And Alan Rickman is their dad.
I didn't get the tattoo correlation, but yeah, that whole like, oh, they're brothers. Haha. I couldn't fight and kill him originally, so now you have to kill my brother for me. Ha.
It's weird too, because it's this big revelation that Raiden comes to, like in this, you could see the light go off in his head. It's like something as easy as, well, we both have the same tattoo. I figure that throughout many lifetimes, you would have got that information somewhere down the line. It's
But
like so easy is that.
he knew that Shao Kahn was his brother
He
the whole
did?
time. Yeah, because near the end, so there's the whole big climactic battle that's coming up, right? And before that, he's talking to Liu Kang, and he has this little like monologue, and he's like, "Oh, years ago, I had to face off with my brother, and one of us had to kill each other so we could take side beside our father, but I couldn't kill him. So you have to do this for me." So
Man.
like he knew they were brothers, and like he just didn't want to mention anything about it earlier because yeah.
Okay. Well, I didn't remember that. So thank you for clearing that up.
That's why there's 2 of us. We make one person at times because we have half the amount of brain cells.
Two full sets of notes it takes for us to come to one cohesive thought. Raiden all of a sudden won't fight Shokan. So what do we do? You will do your best. What? Like what? So that's the advice of Raiden when they fight up or go up against all the bosses, and we got to show it. Not
Listen,
the big.
this is mortal Raiden, okay? Like he doesn't have his abilities, he doesn't have his wisdom anymore. He's just a man, okay? Sometimes men just say stupid things. They ain't got much to add.
Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready to see Mintaro?
No.
Because I mean,
does he not look like a surfer dude? Hey man, ready to go hang 10? Yeah, we're going to the networld. Woo!
He looks like he just watched a bunch of his buddies do like a keg stance. Yeah, bro.
Just that frat guy there just cheering everyone on.
This is the worst. And I agree with you where they did the Minotaur part pretty well.
I think like him entirely does not look bad. The rest of it though is awful.
This is Mintaro. Terrible CG continues as Earth merges with Outland, and we see like really bad like Eiffel Tower render and a couple of like buildings from New York. just kind of floating, and it just like where like what is happening on Earth with like the governments of Earth? What is that like? You
The
don't see
governments are
anyone that
powerless.
has. You don't see anything that has nothing to do with Mortal Kombat. You don't see any civilians. You don't see anything except the monks at the end. That's all you see. But what's
Well,
happening on
Sonya and
Earth?
Jax are there. They're part of the Earth military.
Yeah, but they're Mortal Kombat guys. I'm talking about like just civilians that don't have anything to do with Mortal Kombat. You never see anything on Earth. Like if a big chunk of the Earth was lifted up and it's like half between worlds, or I don't even know what it is, like you'd be like, oh my god, like you don't see any reactions from any humans. It's just kind of it's very empty. Montero looks hilarious. I put here.
I don't have any answers.
Willie, he looks like he just got a roll from the real world. Yeah. Raiden is dead. I put okay.
Yep.
He dies. Okay.
No one
he
really
gets
cares.
shot by Shokan. He's dead. Jax versus Montaro. Sonya versus Ermac. And Katana versus Sindel. And Liu Kang versus Shokan. And this is where the throwaway line comes from Sonya, where she's fighting Ermac, and it's like everyone is paired up with their guys and they're squaring off, and then she's like, "Fine, I'll take the leftovers." It's just like, yeah, literally, like they had nothing to do with
Yeah,
Sonya, which is
they
a
didn't give
shame.
her any like. She wasn't a powerful character. She wasn't able to hold her own. Because even fighting him, like she was being held in like a full Nelson, and she was like, "Jax, help me!"
Yeah, Ermac used his shadow clone, which is cool that they did that. But yeah, and so she's fighting the shadow, and then while she does, has her back turned. She gets grabbed in a headlock. She's military, like whatever she is, military person, and taken out by the headlock. Yeah, I don't like the damsel in distress for a character like hers. It's supposed to be so powerful. It's
Yeah,
just
she's supposed to be able to, like she's strong, she's capable, she's supposed to hold her own. And then all the whole movie, she's just kind of useless.
I put the music is very quiet during the end fight. Like,
Which end fight? Like when they're fighting everyone, or like when we actually get the Mortal Kombat music again? Like the
well, that's like the end. Like when it's like
okay.
the 3 versus 3, it's just
Yeah.
like every fight in that first one had its own theme, and it was just like boom, like dance club music, like just intense, like
Yeah.
bass beats, boom, boom, boom.
But like I get the music's quiet, but the music is also awful in this movie.
It's
So maybe we're
bad.
kind of thankful.
It's got to be a different composer. Like it has to be because it's not even near. Even the Mortal Kombat thing we don't really get. You get near the end.
Like 20 seconds of it, because okay, I have a complaint with this.
Yeah.
Okay, I know we're skipping over some things, but Liu Kang and Shao Kahn finally fight. And then they're like, the Mortal Kombat theme starts. You're like, Mortal Kombat for 5 seconds.
And then it stops.
And then it stops. And then you're
Yeah.
like, what? And then for another like 30 seconds, there's no music. And then another 10 seconds of the theme starts again before it's over. And you're like, that sucked. Like it took out all the momentum of anything that could potentially happen in that scene.
Oz says, I thought it was empty and outworld because people without the mark of the tattoo were kind of destroyed during the passage. Oh, okay. So like it's like a mass murder of Earth. Interesting. I mean, that would make sense. It would make sense. I just put this just as a little nitpicky thing, Will, and see if you notice this too. Nobody is ever bleeding or bruised.
Oh yeah, like yeah. No one ever seems to be actually hurt. There's no seems to be any blood or anything.
Even the scene with Sonya. Let's go back to that. You know, the scene with Sonya, with Sonya's stunt double, I should say. Like she's like after, even though she gets clean and stuff like that, she's like her shirt's not torn, she has no bruises or scrapes, or her hair's not even really messed up. It's just kind of bizarre. Just thought that was kind of weird. Gods interfere. The water and fire gods interfere, and we get the MK theme for 2 seconds. The fire and water gods bring back Raiden.
That's the end part. That's like
Yeah.
after they defeat everyone.
Before that, we get treated to Liu Kang, who in his trance, his training with Nightwolf, he learns to bring out his animality, and we are treated to 1995 PlayStation 1 CG cinematics. Just let that sink in. Matt, yeah, I guess, yeah, I don't, maybe her was a bad example. I just mean anyone in general, like their costumes are never wrecked. Actually, the only thing we see get wrecked is Jax's arms malfunction, and then he finds that he could still be himself without the robot implants. He didn't need them in the first place. I just meant like their costumes don't ever get wrecked or anything. But Will can't even talk. That, yeah, like this is literally PlayStation 1 cinematics, and
It's so
I don't
bad.
understand why they didn't just go with like a guy in a suit at this point. Like the Goro effects were so awesome in the first one.
This whole sequence is awful. Oh my god.
We
And
don't have
like
we don't have Shao Kahn's. He turns into a 3-headed dragon.
it's more than 3 heads. It's like
Is it?
7 heads or something. They look very phallic. It's not great.
What I also noticed too was that Shao Kahn and Liu Kang in their animal forms, their color palettes were exactly the same. They were the same colors. So when they're fighting, it's just like this blob of muted greens. I'm like, what are we looking at? What is this? It's a werewolf dragon, Stanley. Is it? Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look like a dragon, and Liu Kang's thing is a dragon, so I don't get it.
Did you keep the picture of Shao Kahn
No,
doing his transition though?
I didn't bring that one along for the journey.
Oh, come on. That picture is iconic.
Well, hold on.
Oh, it's so bad. Like it's just like he's melding upwards and
I don't know.
becoming.
Yeah, I don't know how good we can look at that. Dude, like what?
It's so bad. And that's the noise he makes when he's doing it. He's just like, "Ooh," and it's like, oh, dragon guy.
I'm just saying that two forces opposing each other, we should be able to tell what's going on. And they're both blending together because it was the exact same color palettes. It was bad.
Oh my god.
And I mean, his animality, he's like bright green, I think, in the game.
It's
But-
like a Asian mythical like dragon, like
Yeah.
the long wavy type. But yeah, this is something.
Jay, I tried to warn you how bad it was. I've seen this once and it was enough. I love bad movies too. This is horrible. Okay.
I think we've gone right to the end, right? Like we're pretty much there. What else?
Story wise, I think that's it.
My notes here. Katana's love brings back Sindel.
Oh,
Sindel's
yeah, and
spins. Everyone watches.
She's not like Bride of Frankenstein looking anymore. She's just like regular mommy now.
Yeah.
So are they gonna like daughter and mother? They're the same age now, so they're both gonna age the same. It's just weird.
Maybe they all just get with Liu Kang.
Maybe.
What else do I have here? Yeah, Sindel spins. Everyone watches. There was a scene where like she's on a pedestal after like Jade reveals that she's not on their side, and then she's like, "Ha!" Ha, ha, ha," and she starts spinning.
Oh,
And if he just stands around watching her.
I must have been typing on my phone for notes during that. I don't remember that. That's hilarious. I do remember when she uses her siren scream and it like literally takes down the cliff walls. It's like Even Shao Kahn's like, damn. It's like
That's like when they were using that teleport thing. That's when Ryan was holding
yeah.
his hands out. He's like, "Come on, we gotta go."
Yeah, and she's slowly collapsing like the geography around them. It's like, wow, she's a god too, pretty much. Like it's pretty powerful.
I also have weird demon eats jade and makes a comical burp.
Don't remember that.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, I remember the burp. Was that like the same statue thing from like the mud fight? It's like the
yeah.
same kind of thing, right?
Like it comes out eats jade and it's like,
Yeah.
"Bleh," and then
That's
disappears.
those
You're like,
statues that were in the first one, right? And they kind of just come to life. Like, what are they? They're just
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Oh, and the flip kick to Shao Kahn kills him, and Liu Kang flips out after he dies. It's just like flipping and flipping still. And then thank God it's
oh.
over. That's my notes. Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Thank God it's over.
So I'm going to go to the poll here. I'm tabbed out for a sec. So 79% have seen this and 21% have not.
21% of people are lucky.
21% of you are spared. And I got to say, I dodged this bullet for a long time, but it was up to you guys. We threw it up. It was this, Doom, and Resident Evil. And Resident Evil's winning for a while. Doom never stood a chance. Unfortunately, Will. Sorry, buddy.
That's okay.
But this one just squeaked by, and then over the last day or so, it dominated the dojo.
We're eventually going to have to watch the other ones. It's coming. You asked me earlier. You want to know stats?
Yeah, so Will's gonna have some stats here. So we were talking backstage, and I said, okay, this one seems like the budget was less. So I'm curious as to know if it was less and if it made back its money. If you have that,
All right. So we'll go with the first one. So the first Mortal Kombat movie had a $20 million budget. It's
wow,
grossed in $122 million.
dude, like kill. That's
great.
amazing.
Mortal Kombat Annihilation had a budget of $30 million.
Wow.
They had $10 million to work with, and this is what we got.
And it looks way cheaper. Way cheaper.
It grossed $51.3 million.
See, and like we are talking about on Fridays versus, like that's still a success. But studios won't see it that way. It's like you went 20 million over your budget. You made $20 million. Oh, it's a failure. It's like this notion that you always have to top. You're just making like that's why I think we are where we are with pop culture, because these studios are like, well, we always have to top what came before it. It's like, well, you're gonna be taking losses for a long time then.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
That's a whole other discussion, but it is a flaw.
Sure.
Not just like pop culture in like the entertainment industry, but I feel like in all
Yeah,
of our
Brian said it. Yeah, it's profitable. So I would deem that as a success. I don't work for Hollywood studios, obviously, but Robert, what's up, buddy? I watched it again recently and remembered why I hadn't watched it in so long.
Yeah.
I dodged it since 1997. I'm gonna say it. I didn't think it was as bad. I didn't think it was that bad, honestly. I mean, if we're to rank everything, I still, me personally, would put Super Mario Brothers as the worst.
We need to make up that ranking list so we can just keep adding titles to it as we go.
Yeah, we'll do a tier list eventually when we get to like 10 or 15 of these. But
it's definitely not Mario bad. But I think it's the second worst movie we've watched.
Street Fighter's pretty bad, man. Oof.
It's not as bad as this.
Yeah, I would agree. Like this one had parts in it that I was just flat out embarrassed. Well, they all have, but this one was like, there's something about Mintaro, which is why I put him in the thumbnail in the corner there. It's just like, yeah, dude. It's just like, come on.
Yeah, like Street Fighter, I get, but at least like they kind of went and stuck to some of the material and stuff. I feel like this is just like they went really off in crazy different ways that just none of it really made any sense and couldn't come together for a cohesive story. And the characters were just not great in
Right,
the
right in life.
entirety. Like,
Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, no, you're right. Like, it's just it's all around bad. But like Street Fighter, at least the characters you could separate them, and they would be like, yeah, okay, I can kind of see, who's who and what they're doing, and they look the parts at points.
Yeah, and Street Fighter, I will also say that I kind of understood what was going on. In the end, they were storming Bison's lair. Okay, I got it.
Yeah,
This was like, is this within the rules of Mortal Kombat? It's not, but like it's not, but it is, but it's not, and it's not, and then the gods come in, and it's just like, what? The first one made sense. We're
the
gonna do
issue,
Mortal Kombat.
yeah,
Get it?
but like, yeah, that's the thing, right? The only thing we knew in this game is they had to take out Shao Kahn, but they didn't have an actual linear path that they planned to follow. It just seemed like everybody was just like doing their own thing. And then eventually, oh, we met here. Surprise, we did it. But in the first one, you had that Mortal Kombat's happening. You find out what Mortal Kombat is. You get to the destination. They tell you what you need to do. You have, build up to the final confrontation. There was none of
Right,
that in the second one. It's just everybody's running to get there and nobody's like working together or planning it out. They're just making a mad dash to get to the end.
right. Just trying to let it all sink in here.
Movie's bad.
So for a couple of movies that were really good at representing, I think, all of the characters, most of them, we didn't get Kentaro, and that really bothers me for some reason. I don't know. Not a huge deal, but Mo says I never watched the live action Mario Brothers movie. Sounds like I didn't miss anything. I would say, dude, you should watch it because it's just unlike anything you've ever seen, and you're going to be questioning yourself so much, and you're going to be like, why is this look like this? Why are they here? Why are they doing this? I would say
It's
watch
like
it.
the furthest departure what Super Mario Brothers could be, but they just threw a name on it.
Yeah. Brian says Sonic is S
Eventually we'll
and
get there.
Street Fighter is B tier. To me, it was worse than Super Mario. At least Mario tried to get the casting: Bob Hoskins, Dennis Hopper, John Leguizamo. Well, in a movie like Mortal Kombat, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying in a movie like Mortal Kombat, I think it's important to get the look right, which is why they should have just went with the motion capture actors. You would have had it like as if they couldn't say these, like, you can't say it any more wooden than these guys. Even James Remar. This is bad, man. He's just bad delivery in this, right? Liu Kang is always great. I think he's great, that actor. I like him.
I'm trying to
But
remember because we did look it up at the time. Because like you have a point, like they're bringing in other actors, but I think like the budget for the original Super Mario Brothers movie, like the '93 one, was pretty lofty that they could afford it. Oh yeah,
yeah,
$48 million for the Mario
yeah.
Brothers
Bob
movie.
Hoskins, huge at the time, right? He was a big actor. So to get him was a big deal. I remember, and I think he's fine. I mean, Captain Lou Albano, the wrestler, was the
That
other
show's
live
great.
action. He was a live action Mario. I thought he was fine too, right? I don't know. There's like Mo. I would say check it out. There's weird things like why does Luigi not have a mustache? Just things like that are so easy to fix, and they chose not to. Again, it's probably Hollywood getting their hands on the IP, and the director being like, "Okay, I'm going to make my version of Mario," which I guess is fine. I've talked about that a bit on Friday, where I would almost rather not have a cohesive DC or Marvel cinematic universe. I'd rather have a director like Nolan come in and say, okay, these are my 3 Iron Man movies. Boom. Then the next actor takes them, and we just go on that way instead of trying to make everything fit.
Yeah.
Matt says again, the mocap actors have been used, they've been paid more in future games. Yeah, but I mean, money's money, right? I would say, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, you would still need to get stunt doubles anyway, right? So, yeah, maybe
Movie's
just
bad.
cast the stunt doubles. There you go. Done.
Probably would have done a better job.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I this movie was far worse than I remember it.
Wow, I'm shocked that I'm not that embarrassed. Like it's embarrassing, but I didn't think it was that horrible. It's bad, don't get me wrong, but will I ever watch it again? No. There's no need to watch it again. But here we are.
True.
Here we are. Oh, animated is see that's the thing, right? Especially the video game movies. It came up on one of the game streams this week. We're talking about the live action Legend of Zelda, right? Like that's it's going to be quite shocking when they release who Miyamoto. I would assume Miyamoto has something to do with picking who the actual actor is going to be. I think when we first see that image of Link, all of us are going to kind of be like, that's a little weird. That's a little weird. And on top of that, we're going to have to deal with seeing Link speak, arguably for the first time. Not talking about CDI, and I'm not talking about the cartoon. I'm talking about like him actually say words. I don't know. What do you guys think? Should they make the Zelda movie? It's gonna be just really weird to see Link talk at all. I don't know, man. I'm kind of nervous. Even though you trust Miyamoto, but still, I think it's gonna be really strange just to see that, and why they chose to make the Super Mario Brothers movie completely animated. Yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. But yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you, Brandon. I think most game movies I think should be animated. But again, I'm also a bigger fan of animated comic book movies. So like it seems to me that DC can't get it right in terms of the live action stuff for whatever reason. And yet they hit it out of the park with their animated like straight to video DVDs. Like I love the Batman animated stuff. Most like the Superman, Death Superman, all that stuff I think is really great for animated. So I don't know why they can't get it right with live action, but yeah. You're on mute.
I was saying the DC animated stuff has always been way better than the actual like cinematic universe that they have.
Yeah, so I don't know if you heard when you stepped out there, but I was just saying no matter what happens with the Zelda movie, it's just going to be really weird to see Link talk. Like
Do you think they could do it somehow without having him talk?
I would prefer that. And with Miyamoto at the helm and approving it, I would hope because we don't need another Snake Eyes. Snake Eyes literally physically cannot speak, and that didn't matter. He talked the whole movie. It was just like so I would like to see Link not say anything. I think that would be awesome.
I think
I
it'd be
really do.
funny if they could try to get it in there. Like maybe if he tries to like say something and just somebody interjects and like butts in. Like Link's like, and then like Zelda's like,
Yeah. Den says Jay knows Zelda movies needed. The game and cinematics are enough for me. Yeah. Chad said something really great on Friday. And I just kind of want to regurgitate that a bit. He said, other than the fact of money's always the answer to this, but take that out of the equation. Why can we not just let things end? Do you know what I mean? It's like, why can't we just have something end? Like, I don't know. Star Wars is a great example. Why can't Star Wars just be done?
without money being the factor.
I know the answer is money, right? But I'm just saying, like, and I agree with what he said. It's like something like Ghostbusters. We don't need, my opinion, we don't need to keep having these stories for Ghostbusters. It's like, why can't it just end? And we have what we have, and we get to enjoy that the rest of our lives. But just through the process of just regurgitating this stuff over and over again, it becomes diluted, and then ultimately it starts to become meaningless. You can't make amazing stories forever. Otherwise, TV shows will go on forever, right?
What if you had the perspective like, okay, so for those that grow up with the content and see it evolve and change over time, it can seem like it's getting diluted and like rebranded all the time. But these companies and stuff, I don't think they're really necessarily thinking of us as the older ones, as the consumers, but more so bringing these properties to a new light for a new generation to enjoy and grow up with, right? Because like from our view of it, yes, 100%, we're seeing it again, and we're like, all right, I've seen this already. I'm kind of tired of it. But like for a new, like for a 10-year-old walking into the franchise for the first time and maybe rekindling a love of it and then having that grow on for their lives makes more of a consumer in a long term for them again, right? Ongoing through generations. And like we already know too, like a lot of the time through history, a lot of older properties don't get consumed by younger generations.
Right. I agree. And I think Nintendo has done an amazing job because there's kids that play Tears of the Kingdom. And it's like the stuff we talk about, like the IPs of our gen, we always talk about Joe, Transformers, all that kind of stuff. That's maybe Transformers is a bad example. G.I. Joe for sure. Ghostbusters for sure. That's our generation.
Yeah.
And I don't think they've done a very good job passing that on. Whereas in video games, you and I can say Super Mario Brothers 3 is the best one, or Mario World, whatever, from our gen. But there's some kids that are going to say Mario Wonder is the best. Nintendo has done a really great job of preserving the past while moving forward. You could say that with all the Zeldas too.
Yeah. So
right?
Why do we view it differently for video games than we do for movies? Because realistically, right? Like, how many Mario games have there been? They're releasing a new Mario over time, but we're never really complaining about it. But when they do like a different take on G.I. Joe or something and releasing it, then it gets more critiqued.
I think I don't have any concrete evidence to this, okay? I just think that video game companies maybe don't listen as much to the public as much, unless you're talking about something like Activision with Call of Duty, something like that. Maybe again, I don't have any evidence to this. It's just kind of what I think.
Yeah.
Game companies don't listen to the public as much as Star Wars fans with the movie. Oh, we want Boba Fett. We want Boba Fett. Okay, give him Boba Fett. Give him Boba Fett. With Nintendo, especially, it's like, well, we're gonna make this game, this Zelda game now. Oh, we want Majora's Mask 2. We want Ocarina 2. Now we're gonna do one with this weird power arm, and now you can build vehicles. Nobody ever would have thought that that would ever be in Zelda.
Mm-hmm.
They don't care. Here you go. Here it is. They just do what they want. Like, look at Mario Odyssey. There's a level on Earth, man. It's like, what? Yeah, we're doing that now. I think they have the guts to do that, and it's very admirable. I think game companies are more likely to do stuff like that than TV and movies.
Do you think they're more willing to take a risk to kind of keep the brand fresh and real than what you're seeing with?
I do, and ultimately it works. And somewhere down the line, with stuff like Ghostbusters, we just were frozen in this era where it's like, I just need those 4 guys. I can't have anything else. It's weird, man. I don't know. And someone asked me Friday about Indiana Jones too, just a little bit. I don't consider Indiana Jones in that, because Indiana Jones has always been about Indiana Jones. Now he's old. He was young, now he's old. Do you know what I mean? It's always been him. If they had made Mutt take over for him after Crystal Skull, that's a different story. But
yeah,
anyway, all right, go ahead.
But that's not even like, you wouldn't really continue that with Indiana Jones, right? Like,
you can't continue Indiana Jones without.
No, you can't, because it's about Indiana, right?
But if someone was asking, I don't think I got to the question Friday where they were just asked, would you put Indiana Jones in the member berry category? And I wouldn't. Let's get to some. Knights of the Old Republic was a great Star Wars game because it was a completely new story, just the same as the universe. They should have done that with the Star Wars show. Yeah.
And
yeah,
it's been in talks for a while, but there's supposed to be some form of Old Republic series and like content coming. It just doesn't seem to have come to fruition, especially with the KOTOR remake for the video game being infinitely on hiatus, which is a shame.
Just like I said, I think I said this the other day. You can get a limited run version of Knights of the Old Republic for your consoles. I know for Switch for sure. It won't have like next gen graphics or anything, and you can get it on your iPad still. They want the attention of parents who have forgotten these great IPs. They know the diehard pop culture fans will watch too.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
like I'm a big sucker for Ghostbusters. Like I absolutely love Ghostbusters, and like I intend to see the new movies. I've watched all the new content. I think the last movie was all right. Like Afterlife, it was good. And
right.
I like the where they're going with Frozen Empire. So
As long as they just evolve it, that's all I've ever asked.
I
Just
think
evolve it, you know.
yeah, and it does kind of seem like for the Ghostbuster standpoint, like since Afterlife in this one, it does seem like they're kind of ish ushering in a new generation of Ghostbusters themselves to kind of take over. But they're definitely utilizing the old original Ghostbusters because, well, A, they're still alive and they can, and it makes sense to have them there as mentors to these newer generations.
This is a good question. Who is the intended audience for a show like Invincible?
Have you watched Invincible?
I've read Invincible.
I've only
I
seen the show, and I really like the show.
I like Kirkman's stuff. Oh, that's a good question. You can answer that if you got an answer for it. I'm thinking, who's the intended audience? I know it's ultra violent. I haven't watched it, but the comic is. I don't know. I don't know.
Whoever
But
it
I
is, they've like what would I? So I've never heard of Invincible until I heard of the show.
right.
So I would be the intended audience for that. But what would I be designated as for that? That's what I'm trying to think of.
I'm
Because
just
it
happy
caught my
that
eye and I started watching it and getting more into it and learning about like all of that.
it's a new character, and I'm happy about that. That's all I'm saying. And again, I think I said this before, but one genre that is constantly delivering, in my opinion, pretty good quality is horror movies. You could say that some copy some here and there, sure, but over the decades, horror movies have constantly brought out what I think is good stuff. I can't say that for most others. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because I'm a big horror fan, but Invincible is written by Robert Kirkman, creator of The Walking Dead, around the same time as Walking Dead, which would have been like 03, 04, I think. Intended audience, Brandon, I don't know, man. Just
Which
anyone who likes superheroes, I guess.
yeah, but it's like a very more mature take, right?
Right.
It's weird because this Invincible and The Boys, both like TV wise, cinematic wise, kind of came out at the same time, and they both hit really off, like really well. So there was something that people were seeking at that time, and is it just a more mature take on like the superhero genre?
Wow, that's deep. I mean, you could say the Marvel stuff is safe. And
Like,
I think people are getting tired of safe, and they're getting tired of getting the rug pulled out from under them.
yeah, I could see
Right?
that
Being
because
the snap from Thanos that killed half of the heroes, even
hmm,
though it didn't. Right? Stuff like that. It's like a character dies and there's no weight to it anymore because multiverse, you can bring him back. There's no weight to any loss anymore. So I think having something fresh like Invincible, where maybe that's not the case, or maybe we don't know what's going to happen, is exciting,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, because I would agree. Like, I still keep up with the Marvel stuff. I do enjoy it, but I do. It is a running theme where like there is no risk. There's no like you're not really concerned about losing a character, or somebody dying. You're just there to see what happens in the story. But with, like watching like The Boys and Invincible, like it's almost has that Game of Thrones effect for me, where after that first season of Game of Thrones, where things happen, I know it's been a long time, but you know what I mean? Like people
Yeah.
are dying off. You're kind of like, well, no one's safe now. So where is this going to go? And I'm getting that same vibe from The Boys and Invincible, which I kind of get that. I like waiting to see if something's going to happen to characters I either enjoy or really hate.
So I would say Invincible and the Boys hasn't pulled the rug out from under you yet. It hasn't betrayed you.
Mhm.
Would that be fair to say?
So far,
So
yeah.
what I
Everything about The Boys content I have thoroughly enjoyed so far.
What I mean by that, let me explain that, is if you betray the trust of the audience,
Mm.
huge Walking Dead fan was
Yeah, yeah.
until you got to a season where Glenn and one of these other characters are on this dumpster and they're surrounded by walkers. Glenn, the guy shoots himself. He's gone. He falls. Then Glenn falls, and all you see is Glenn looking up and just all this blood and all this stuff squirting out of him. Oh my god, they just killed Glenn in a show where nobody's safe. I can't believe they just killed Glenn. It's and then you don't see anything for 3 weeks because around that time they were splitting off the characters, having their own episodes. 3 or 4 weeks later, we get back and we find out, well, it was the dead guy that was on top of Glenn. Glenn didn't really die. So now what you've done is you've betrayed your audience. You've lied to them. You've pulled the rug out. And then that's when Walking Dead started to go like this. Because
I'd
now
agree with that.
death has no more meaning. Because it's like, well, are they really dead? Right. So I would say these new IPs, as long as they do that, and Invincible is Kirkman, so you never know. As long as they do that, and if the boys, I've never seen the boys, as long as they do that, you're going to keep your audience.
Yeah. You think the boys and Invincible are different, Brandon? I feel like they would hit the same grounds. Heavy social commentary, that's true. This has a lot of depth with absence. That's very true too.
Boys heavy on social commentary. Invincible has a lot of depth. Jeff says, I think part of it was when the two came in the comics. Readers were feeling burnt out with superheroes. Well, it is. I mean, again, it's like I said Friday. Is this an our problem? Did we do this to ourselves? Like, if you have Disney, I almost called it Disney Infinity. If you have Disney Plus, it's like a show ends, then the next one begins. And I'm not, one of my buddies is like, "Oh, I'm so burnt out. It's Star Wars, then Marvel, then this." It's like, well, dude, you don't have to watch all this stuff. You don't have to do it.
Yeah, no, that's
Like we're
true.
we're burning ourselves out, right? Um,
It was kind of like me was talking about like Spider-Man earlier with my PlayStation dying, with that fear of missing out, right? Like I think it's ingrained in us that if we're not watching it and keeping up with the status social quo, that we're gonna miss out on like being part of the buzz and like what
oh
everybody's
yeah,
feeling, right?
yeah. Especially streaming. You and I know that. It's like, you want to play the hot new game. You want people to be excited about that. You want to spread that excitement. So yeah, I totally get it. And that burns you out, man, because you can't keep up forever. And it's worse now than ever.
Oh yeah,
With
2023 has been incredible for game wise, but really hurting for like pocket wise, like money wise. Like I can't afford all these games, and like time wise, like I don't have time to play all these games.
yeah. And that's our problem, right? Too much
Yeah,
entertainment is not really a problem. Guys like us, it's a problem, but it's not really a problem. And then you have Marvel movies in the theater, Marvel TV shows, and everything else to keep up with. And it's a lot. Yeah. So I don't know. It's like it's burnout versus like is the quality like something like the Marvels? It's getting roasted. It's being hailed as the worst Marvel movie TV show ever created. Is it really that bad, or are we just burnt out?
yeah.
Do you know? Like I don't
Like
know.
I really like the Miss Marvel TV show that they had out there and like the characters in it. Captain Marvel, like I know a lot of people have issues with Brie Larson, but I thought she portrayed Captain Marvel very well.
Sure.
But my journey with Marvel in the movie theater aspect has really died down since COVID. Like at this
Yeah.
point, for me, I would rather wait for it to come to Disney Plus, and I'll just watch it at home at my own time.
Unless, you and I have the same tastes, so Indiana Jones, we had to go to the theater to see it and we weren't going to wait. We wanted to go
Yeah,
like first week or whatever, but it has to be something, I agree with you, of that caliber to get me to go to the theater now. Otherwise, I can wait, you know. Marvel, I was burnt out after She-Hulk. I only watched She-Hulk because they dangled Daredevil in front of everybody. And I
did you
was just
watch
like,
the original Daredevil stuff from Netflix?
oh, I love it.
It was
Love it.
good, right? I really
Love
like the
it.
Punisher. I know some people were hot,
Punisher's
not really on
great.
it, but I really like the
Dude.
Punisher stuff too.
John Bernthal.
Mm.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
perfect.
good.
Yeah,
Perfect,
he's a
man.
great Frank Castle.
Yeah.
I want to go
And
back to like Infinite was talking about like depth in characters and something
sure.
that like the Invincible. We're not going to talk about spoilers because I know Brandon's just watching it, but this made me think of recently both you and I have been playing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
And the one thing I really, really like, and like why Spider-Man is one of like my favorite heroes, is because out of most other Marvel and even DC heroes we get a more glimpse at his regular day life that I really enjoy.
Yeah.
And like seeing the struggles that he deals with on a human level outside of just being like a superhero really like kind of like makes you invested in that character more, and that's why I think like Spider-Man's still one of my favorite, if not the favorite, superhero
Yeah.
like in
And
that universe.
I would agree. You made a short actually, I don't know, about a month ago that was really great where you captured in your short that part in Spider-Man 2 where his house payments are overdue like $4,000 or something like that.
Yeah,
And I remember that part in the game as well. And it's so great because you're just sitting there thinking like you're Spider-Man. How do you not have enough money? You could literally take money from wherever you want. You could exploit your powers, but he doesn't do that.
yeah,
That's what makes him so great,
yeah,
right?
he still has a moral compass that he
Yeah.
sticks with, even though he has these abilities, and he could be corrupt or whatever, but he chooses to live the life he wants to, and how he was raised, right? And that just like I don't know, it makes him so much more relatable, even though he does have superpowers and kind of can do anything he wants.
Robert says, I think comic and shows are different enough that even if you know the comic, spoilers are going to ruin it. Oh, okay. Oh, well, I don't know about Invincible, Robert, but I know that The Walking Dead, they changed it just enough that you could read the comic and watch the show, and it was just a little bit different. But
I definitely feel like they shot themselves in the foot with The Walking Dead. Like the whole plan was like it's not really like Walking Dead spoilers if you haven't caught up with it, but like Rick disappears, right?
yeah,
Everybody assumes he's dead.
yeah.
Comes back at the end and there's supposed to be like a Michonne and Rick spin-off that they do, but because like it's been so freaking long, like nobody seems to care anymore.
What I don't understand about that, Will, is that you have an ensemble cast where the interest is dwindled so much that this show is done. So why would you have three separate spin-off shows if the one core show isn't surviving?
Yeah.
And I watched the first episode of Negan and Maggie. I got halfway through and it's terrible. Terrible.
Yeah, I don't understand why that was the thing.
The ultimate odd couple. I don't know, man. I'm so sick of that. Like, I forgive him. I don't forgive him. He did a horrible thing. You can't forgive him for that. Nobody could. Just that's it. That should be the end of the story. But they keep going back and forth with those two. I don't know. Rila, what's up? Well, we don't watch it live on stream. We watch it separately, or sometimes we go to the movies together and watch it, and then we talk about it after. We watched the second Mortal Kombat today. We had a discussion. Yeah,
Movie was something. I know we got derailed here because honestly,
awesome.
I don't know what else we could really say about Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Like,
Yeah. But this is great. That's why I love doing these talks, these live streams, because they just kind of go where they go. I really enjoy those kind of discussions. But Mortal Kombat was, I don't know. I think you hated it more than I did. I don't
I
think it
did
was.
not.
It's
I
not super bad.
this especially comparing it to the first Mortal Kombat though, like I don't know what happened.
Which is the first thing I wanted you to do is check that budget because I'm like, this seems like okay. Well, we can greenlight a sequel, but you're gonna get half the budget. And they were like, okay, well, we'll do it anyway. Because
Oh,
it feels like the sets are
yeah.
smaller, the sets are a lot less interesting. Um, the fight choreography is just it's gone. Um,
It's almost like I guess
yeah.
like at that time when this came out, CGI was like at an all-time like new boom. It was the hot new fad. And it almost seems like they just blew their whole budget on trying to do CGI for so many things.
Yeah, that might be the case. Yeah,
Like honestly, like those animality transitions at the end probably cost them like a lot of their budget.
pretty rough, man. Pretty rough. Y'all seen The Walking Dead Dead City? I got halfway through the first episode. I turned it off. Will, I don't know if you. That's the Maggie show. I don't know if
I
you
didn't
watched.
have an interest. I was
Yeah.
just like, I think I'm just kind of done with The Walking Dead because it's been on for so long. I just maybe
And
eventually I'll go back to it, but I don't know.
it got boring again. It's the same. Like the very last episode, it's like Rosita is climbing a ladder, and she falls into all the walkers, and everyone's like, "Oh my god!" And then it turns out, oh, she's alive. Okay. But no, she's not. She got bit. It's like, you know what? I'm so done with this because in The Walking Dead, what made it so great was you didn't know anyone could die at any time. Even main characters like friggin' Shane and Dale, they were just gone, right? And then they just pull the rug out from under you and trick you. And once you betrayed that trust, it's done. You can't get it back,
Yeah.
right?
You need to just follow through. You need to just like stay the course. You don't need to toy with people and doing things. You need to just either do it or don't, and like just make it sudden. Like that was the big thing with a lot of the original Walking Dead stuff. Is it's just it'd be out of the blue. There wouldn't be a lead up
Yeah,
to it. You wouldn't expect it. It was just like
yeah.
boom, somebody's dead, and you're like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah, it got too bloated too. And where can you go, right? You just go from one boss character and then a meaner boss character and then a meaner, it just goes that's all it is. And then the show becomes really about people versus each other and the zombies are kind of just in the way, right? So
Yeah, and that's another thing. Like it almost makes the zombies almost feel like pointless. Like it becomes too much more about like human on human confrontation and less about like the actual like zombies, which is I don't know, should be the main concern, I would think still, right?
Will, we're all hoping, Will, that you get your PS5 back. I hope you get some good news this week because
Fingers crossed.
that sucks. It really does. Why don't you
Or one
tell
out.
everyone in the chat where they can find you?
You can find me here live on YouTube weekly. Just search at WillyLo. We just play video games really. Right now we're working through Cyberpunk 2077 after they did the new update. I was playing Spider-Man 2, but with the PS5 being dead, I had to move on to something else. And I'm actually enjoying a lot of Cyberpunk. So we're having a
It's
lot
a
of fun with
great
that.
game. Great game.
I'm also live over on Twitch, twitch.tv/WillyLo. And with the multi-streaming clause dropped, we're pretty much streaming both sides. So you can find me on either or every day. Yeah.
You can find me here Thursday through Sunday at 10 a.m., guys. You know where to find me. You know what's going on. And Willie and I are always here every Sunday morning. Next week, we'll be coming at you with another issue of EGM, which, dude, I got to be honest with you. It's my favorite time of the week is that Sunday. I don't know if it's because it's like cold and wintry out, nice hot coffee, and just going through that old magazine, man. It's like coming back home. I don't know, man. I really love checking out those old issues.
It's a lot of fun. It's a
So
good time for sure.
Issue 7 will be next Sunday. And then the next week, we'll put up another poll and you guys can torture us with whatever movie you want us to watch, video game wise. But that's it. I can't thank all of you enough for hanging out with us on a Sunday morning. I don't have much coffee left, but I'll cheers you guys. And we'll see you on the next stream. Take care, guys.
Bye, friends.